Hello friends, welcome to my channel, a channel for learning simple coding. If you find this video to be helpful, please like, share and subscribe my channel. In this video, number 53, we are going to understand what is static rendering. Earlier we called it static site generation in version 12 and before. After version 13 or in now current 14 version, we called it static rendering. So how we can use cache force cache property for static rendering, that we are going to learn, how to code it and how to check static rendering at build time, that we are going to understand in this video. In previous video also I have explained what is a static rendering. Static rendering means to generate HTML pages at build time. So I will show you to make a build of this application, and in build time it will show that the number of pages generated by the Next.js. So that we are going to understand. It's a very important and interesting concept, knowledgeable concept. Please stay with this video and watch it completely. Let us start. We go to the VS Code. Here under the app directory, I'm creating a new route group. So I call this route group as a web2 like this. Under this, I create one route and I called it cots like this. So under this cots, I create a page.tsx. Under this page.tsx, I say RAFCE and we generate this component, and I remove this, no need of this. And here I try to design something. I say here h2 and I say static rendering example like this, and I say class name also, and here I say text to Excel font should be bold like this. Then after this I say h2 and here I say list of course author like this, because I will display list here, and on the click of this list then I will go to the course page. That's why I am making a coding as per the static rendering, because it's a requirement in a static rendering that we should generate some pages by using param. Now we have to fetch data from the server to display in this author list. So for that I have this REST API and we have some data also like this. So we use this. Now because in version 14 of Next.js we can't use get server side props or get static props, get static path. We can't use these functions. We have to use normal function async await with fetch. So how we can use that, I am explaining you that. Here you create one function and I say fetch quotes, for example async, and here I need to create this function like this. So here I use fetch function. So I say quotes data equal to fetch, and here I just copy the link, this link, and I paste this link here like this. And now we have to set some property. Remember that here I have to set cache, and here I need to say force cache like this. If I'm using it for client side static site generation, so we have to use this force cache, and I'm passing this. This is the property for that. Now what I do, I use this to send data. So I say here const and I say quotes equal to await quotes data dot json, and here also I need to put await like this. Then I return the value. So I say return quotes dot quotes. Remember that I have to return, and this is the quotes array that I need to return this, and it's saying does not exist in this. So I remove this first, this one also, then it's okay. Await and then quotes, I am returning this, and this function I need to call here for fetching a data. So I say const and I say quotes equal to await fetch quotes like this. We have to use it, and here also I should use async. Remember that we have to use it like force cache, because in Next.js version 14 then we have to use like this. We have to create a server side component like this async await component, and then we have to use this to get the data, and then we render it here one by one. So I create here like this, then I say quotes dot map like this. Under the map I take quotes, then I take like this, and here I create a div tag. Under this div tag like this I will create link. So I say link, and here I display quote dot author, and you see that we have here quote and we have author also, this one. So because I'm using Typescript, so I create data type for this also. So I say here type and I say quote type equal to like this. I say ID of number type, then quote of string type, then author of string type, and author like this. Then save this, and I have to use this quote here. So I say here quote type like this. I have to use it. Then we have this author like this. Then key is missing, so I say here key equal to quote dot id like this. The link is not defined, so we have to import this. So for importing this, I say link like this. It is imported now. Now I have to set here href. So I say href equal to, and here I set quote, then I say here id. So for id I say here quote.id like this. We have to pass. So this is the URL that I am going to create or route. After clicking on this, then we will go to next component that will display the quotes. Remember that. So on the basis of this id, we are generating a static page. So number of id will define number of static page will generate. So first of all, I start this application npm run dev. Meanwhile it is starting, then I should create one more route to display this quote. So for that, under this I create this, and here I say quote id like this. That is the dynamic route like this I have to create. Under this I create one more page.tsx, and you know that if I will change the route here 1 2 3 4, if I will pass the id, and that code will display here. So I say RAFCE. Here I will have the parameter param. For that I say params like this, and we have to define the property of this. So I say here type param type, or we can say prop type equal to params. Then under this I say quote id of number type, we can say quote id of number type, and here I say props type like this. So we have props type here param, and after that from the param we can get id also, quote id from the params like this. Quote id is here. Then first of all I display here quote id. After that I will display quotes also. I will create a function for that, but right now I do this because I have to run it first. So here I try to restart. So structure of this application has been created. So once again remember that we are using this fetch quote function, and this is async await, and we are fetching data from this, and we are using here force cache because we are using static site generation. Then we fetching data and displaying list of it, and for that I have to add this in navbar also. So I'm removing the extra, you can say, link, and for that link I'm creating here quotes, and here I say quotes like this. Save this, and I try to see this quotes is there. If I click here, you see a list of authors are coming, and if I click on this, and you will see that id will display. You see id3 is coming, so it is working perfectly. That means number of page will generate statically is number of author we have. So we will see that also. So half is working and half we have to make ready. So this is the skeleton only. So we are passing the property, we are reading the property. Now we have to make coding also here, because we have to tell Next.js that we want to generate a static pages on the basis of these parameter which we are passing here. Remember that the quote id, number of quote id, number of pages we will generate. So first of all I call here fetch function again, because this I have to use this function again for fetching information. On the basis of id I will fetch the data. So here I say like this once again, and I say here async also, and on the basis of this force cache is there, and I will change this to like this, and after that quote, and I will pass the quote id like this. Remember, on the basis of this quote id it will fetch the information quote data, and that quote data will have the quote here, and it will generate only one quote. I can remove this, no need of return. So I have this quote here, and this is the single quote that will get by this, and this I will display here. So I say here quote id equal to this, and under the div I need to display this. So here I say here again I say B tag, or not B, I can say div like that. Under the div I use this, and again I use div, one more div. Under that I say cot, and here I display cots. I display cot because this is the cot that I am going to display here. So save this. Now I go to the site. If I click here, and you will see that it will fetch the version 2 and object is not a valid child. We see the error. What is the error here? So we have cot ID number, then param, then I'm passing this code ID here. I think this is the wrong one, so I have to remove this information because we are fetching a single information at a time. So no need of this. Await is there, and I have to check first of all the output of this, because if I set 1 here, so it will display like this. This is object. So with the help of object I have to return cot. That is the problem, because this is the problem. So this is the object, and here I will display cots dot cot. That is the problem because it's an object, and from the object we have to display the value. That is the problem here. If I click here, and you will see now it is working perfectly. It was a object problem, so this is working now. Everything is okay. Remember that it is working. So we have here index page like this. On the basis of this force cache we have information, and here also I put the property same for force cache. So I say cache and I say force cache like this. So I put this property also. Now one more thing is remaining here. We have to tell Next.js that we want to generate number of static pages, because we are learning here static rendering. So for static rendering in this page where we are displaying codes, remember that in this page, not on this page, here in this page we have to tell number of these static page should be generated. So for that we have a function that we have to override. So I say export const generate static params. Remember, this is the function that we have to override. Now this I should say async, and same coding I have to use here, because on the basis of that code, this code, on the basis of this code I will tell the Next.js number of page should generate. So the outcome of this would be the number of page. Remember that. So here these are the codes. These are the codes which we have. Now I say here and return. I need this function should use map. Remember that map, and from the map it will display the number of static page should be generated on the basis of ID. So I say here cot, and that code will generate like this. Remember that this is the notation. So this is the cot. Then from this code, so I should use cot ID like this, and here I say cot dot ID. So that I have to send. This is the property which asking the data type. So I say type I create here, and I can export this also. Otherwise I copy this type, same type I copy this, and I do there, and I come and paste here, and here I say cot type, and here in this I pass this cot type like this because it's a Typescript. So you see this is the code ID. Remember that this code ID should match with this code ID because we are passing here route parameter, dynamic route we are using. So here we have this code ID. So this code ID, D should be capital. This I am passing here code ID, and in this I am passing the number of ID of the codes. So if there is 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. So number of ID will generate number of static pages. Remember that this is the way to generate a static site generation, or we can say static rendering now in Next.js. So this is the complete code. Try to see if there is no error at all. Refresh it. It is doing some problem. Generate receive number for cots ID. We see once again what mistake I am doing here. So I am generating this code ID, code QOT, code ID is there. Okay, so this should be in string format. That's why it's saying error. So I say to string because should be in string format, but we are passing number. That's why it's generating error, I think. Now I refresh it. Yeah, it is working now. So if I click on cots, and you see number of authors are coming. If I click on any author, then it display this ID number 22. So you see that number of ID are there and number of pages we have here. Now we will see this at build time, that how the static site generation generate a page. So I close this application right now. Now I call if npm run build. Remember that I'm running here build process of this, and you will see that how it generating the static site generation or static rendering on build time, because static rendering means to generate HTML page at build time. So we are building an application right now. At build time it will generate the pages. Now you see that build process completed, and we have here SSG. Remember that this is our static site generation, is called static rendering. Dynamic rendering symbol is this is static site generation symbol, and this is static page symbol. So we go to the quotes here. You see that here quotes, you see this quote is SSG. Remember that this is static site generation and it's generating 27 pages on the basis of ID which we are providing. So 27 different static page generate by this at build time, and this is also called static because it's a simple page, and we are using here force cache, so that's why it's generating as a static page. And this page is generating by static rendering, means on the basis of the value provided by this function generate static params, this function, and passing an array of ID. On the basis of this ID, 27 pages generated one by one to replace the ID, and generating the page by the Next.js build process. You see that everything is defined here. You can easily identify that this is SSG, static site generation, means static rendering, and this is the symbol for that. So the code which we have written that supporting static site generation, and this is the way to do static rendering in Next.js 14 and above. If you understand, if you like this video, please do subscribe. Thank you for watching this video.